Good morning, doctor and classmates. My name is JIALE, and today I will be presenting my undergraduate thesis entitled The Effects of Social Media Slang on Formal Oral Communication Among UKM TESOL Students. This study was conducted under the supervision of Dr. Hafiza. In recent years, social media has significantly reshaped the way people communicate on a daily basis. Slang and informal expression are now widely used across platforms such as TikTok, Instagram, and WhatsApp. For TESOL students, this issue is particularly important because they are future teachers and who are expected to use accurate and appropriate language use. Therefore, there is a growing concern that frequent exposure to informal digital language may influence students' ability to use formal spoken English effectively. TESOL students frequently use slang in online communication, and informal expressions sometimes appear during academic speaking tasks like presentations or discussions. However, most previous studies focus mainly on written language or general language use. There are relatively few Malaysian studies that specifically examine foreign oral communication among TESOL students, especially Chinese international students. This lack of empirical evidence highlights the need to investigate whether social media slang has an impact on students' formal spoken English. My study is guided by three research questions. First, it aims to identify the types and frequency of social media slang used by UKM TESOL students. Second, it examines students' perceptions of how slang influences their formal oral communication. Third, it investigates the relationship between slang use and formal oral communication competence. The research objectives are directly correspond to these questions and guide the overall design of the study. Next, this slide presents the theoretical and conceptual framework of my study. The independent variable is social media slang use, while the dependent variable is formal oral communication competence. The framework proposes the frequent exposure to informal language on social media influences learners' formal spoken performance through several mediating factors, including habit formation, digital immersion, register confusion, and cognitive load. Overall, the framework suggests that informal linguistic input from social media can shape learners' formal oral communication competence. Besides, this study adopted a primarily quantitative descriptive correlational design with embedded qualitative elements for further explanations. The participants were 100 undergraduate TESOL students from UKM. Data were collected using an online questionnaire distributed via Google Form. The data were analyzed using SPSS, including descriptive statistics, reliability analysis, and Pearson correlation. In addition, open-ended responses were analyzed thematically to provide qualitative insights. Okay, based on the two tables, most respondents spend several hours on social media every day. In fact, 86% of the students reported spending more than 3 hours daily, and nearly half of them spend more than 5 hours per day. This indicates that social media is deeply embedded in students' daily routines, making it a relevant context for examining slang use. Next, the findings show that the majority of respondents use social media slang often or very often. This suggests that slang is not used occasionally, but rather forms a regular part of students' everyday communication practices. In terms of platform, slang is most commonly used on TikTok, Instagram, and Xiaohongshu. The most frequently used types of slang include abbreviations, acronyms, and shortened spellings. Regarding context, slang is mainly used in friends chats, group chats, and casual offline conversations. However, this also indicates potential exposure to slang even in academic settings. Next, the results show that many students believe that frequent use of social media slang influences the way they speak in real life. Most respondents also agreed that slang should be avoided in formal speaking contexts. Overall, the findings suggest a high level of register awareness, as students are generally able to distinguish between informal and formal language use, also understand the difference. In terms of formal oral communication competence, students reported moderate levels of confidence in academic speaking situations. However, some students indicated difficulty maintaining formal vocabulary and grammatical accuracy, especially when speaking under pressure. The reliability analysis showed strong internal consistency for both constructs. The perception of slang scale recorded a Cronbach's alpha of 0.85, while the formal oral communication competence scale recorded an alpha of 0.93. This indicates that the questionnaire used in this study was reliable. And they are the real screenshots of the reliability analysis. A Pearson correlation analysis revealed a significant negative relationship between social media slang use and formal oral communication competence. The correlational coefficient was R equals minus 0.633 with p less than 0.01. However, this does not indicate a causal relationship. This suggests that higher frequency of slang use is associated with lower levels of perceived formal oral communication competence. The open-ended responses provided further qualitative insights into the relationship. Some students mentioned that slang sometimes slips into presentations unintentionally, indicating unconscious transfer. Others feel that slang is natural and useful for social bonding, but risky in academic speaking. These responses support and help explain the quantitative findings before, indicating unconscious transfer and automatic language activation. In conclusion, social media slang is widely used among TESOL students. Although students sometimes demonstrate awareness of language formality, a significant negative relationship was found between slang use and formal oral communication competence. This highlights the importance of enhancing register awareness and pragmatic competence in TESOL education. Moreover, teaching TESOL training programs should include explicit instruction on managing language formality while maintaining communicative flexibility. This study relies on self-reported data and was concluded within a single institution, which is UKM. Additionally, no direct observation of spoken performance was included, so future research could involve speaking recordings, experimental designs, or cross-university comparisons to gain deeper insights. Overall, this study highlights that the challenge is not the presence of social media slang, but the ability to manage language use across communicative contexts. And that's all from me, and that's all my thesis. Thank you for listening.